Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is the 6th of January. We're on page 16 of the magazine. And we're doing an article about a very interesting topic. Why do some birds fly in a V shape?
我们的中文标题是候鸟的人字编队之谜。那个 V shape 就是英文讲它是个 V shape， 那我们中文会说它这个人字形。
I mean, we all classically see illustrations of birds flying in a V because it's just a known thing. We don't think about it much. But they don't always fly in Vs is what's interesting. You can look at page 18 and see the various configurations that birds fly in. The various configurations in which birds fly.
Yeah. 好，所以这个地方我们通常想到鸟在飞，很多人想到就那个人字形，但是其实鸟它飞行的它的队形不一定是人字形，它的编队不一定是人字形。那在18页上面，我们的杂志18页这里有各种各样的鸟的这个飞行的时候它的编队非常有趣，不见得一直是人字形但是我有个印象，好像他们说他们如果要飞长途的话，人字形是最常见的因为为什么我们今天文章就会提到。
I mean, have you ever seen bike races?
Yes.
They often bike really close to each other in a line,
yeah.
and you're like, why are they doing that? Don't they want to get ahead? But they're saving energy, and at the very end of the race, everybody breaks formation and just sprints.
Yeah, 那这个就好像自行车比赛一样这个通常在比赛的过程当中呢，大家通常会尽量跟在另外一辆车的后面，但是跟得很紧那其实会比较省力，因为前面那辆车帮你把这个风阻挡掉很多了。那通常都快要到终点的时候，大家开始冲刺，这个时候他们就会 break formation， 他们就会打散那个队形就开始往前冲。
So let's read our article. In many countries, the coming of cooler weather results in an iconic sight, geese and some other species migrating in a V formation. The purpose of the birds flying to warmer climates for the winter is simple to understand. It is easier for the animals to find insects and other food and build nests in warmer regions than in snowy, frozen areas of the globe. Exactly why some birds fly in a V pattern is a bit more complex, but scientists have discovered the reasons behind this phenomenon. The discoveries are rather fascinating. By placing monitoring equipment on birds that fly in a V, researchers have confirmed the theory that they do so to make it easier for those flying behind the birds in front. Flying slightly to the right or left in back of a bird flapping its wings helps geese, storks, pelicans, flamingos, and some other birds take advantage of wind movements. That is, the wind created by the flapping wings of the birds in front helps lift up the birds behind. This allows them to flap not as frequently and to use less energy. One study showed the heart rates of pelicans that flew in a V were slower than those that didn't fly in a group, indicating they expended less energy. Another reason some bird species fly in a V shape, scientists believe, is that it allows them to visually communicate with each other better. Because they have better views of the flock, the animals can follow the leader of the group more easily and avoid colliding with each other. These are interesting points to think about the next time you see birds flying in formation. So here's a question for you. Why do swallows fly south for the winter?
Well, their instinct tell them that they need to get away from the coldness of the north.
Yeah, but the point is it's easier than walking.
Oh, okay.
So this is how jokes work. It's a misdirection.
Yeah.
You're expected to think about the south part when I'm actually like flying versus walking.
Oh, okay, yeah, 所以这个就是开玩笑这个刚刚 Angela 问说为什么燕子会冬天的时候会往南飞呢？那我就想说那是因为他们要躲避寒冷的北方但其实这个问题脑筋急转弯，它的答案就是因为飞比走还要快，而且比较简单，对燕子来讲。
懒得走路。
Yeah.
So, let's read our article. In many countries, the coming of cooler weather results in an iconic sight. Iconic means symbolic. It means it gives you some sense of meaning. You look at these geese and other species migrating in a V formation, and you're like, fall is here.
好，所以这个地方我们看到他说，在很多国家呢 ，the coming of cooler weather 就是比较凉爽的天气的到来啊。那其实中文翻译的时候不用翻得这么的这个啰嗦，你就直接说天气转凉啊。所以很多国家里面天气转凉啊 ，results in 会造成什么结果，也就是会带来啊。所以天气转凉在很多地方啊，很多国家里面会带来一个 iconic 一个代表性的 sight 一个景象。啊，什么景象呢？就下面讲的啊，这个 geese 雁，还有 some other 一些其他的 species， 就是指这个鸟的种类，它们怎么样呢？后面有个分词修饰它，这些鸟，这个雁啊，还有其他的鸟类会 migrating， 就是迁徙。但是重要的是迁徙以什么样的形式迁徙呢？用一个副词片语来表达啊，他们迁徙是 in a V formation， 用一个 V 的队形来迁徙。
Now, the purpose of the birds flying to warmer climates for the winter is simple to understand. It's the same reason why Americans move to Florida for the winter.
啊，所以这个地方，各位等一下看到这个原因啊，就跟很多美国人这个冬天的时候就会到佛罗里达州去哈，这个很简单的原因啊，就是因为佛罗里达州比较温暖。
Also, Florida sucks in the summer, so you only want to be there for the winter, yeah.
哦，那因为而且呢，这个佛罗里达州可能不是那么的舒适了哈，所以只有冬天才会过去。我曾经碰过一个美国的老太太啊，她现在只有一个人哈，那可是她在佛罗里达、在阿拉斯加都有房子啊，所以她冬天的时候住在 Florida， 然后夏天的时候呢住 Alaska 哈。
Honestly, the best of both worlds, because Alaska in the summer is a paradise. You can, the sun is up for so long that you can grow vegetables like amazingly fast.
Yeah, 那这个所以这是 best of both worlds 哈，所以这个他这样子其实蛮幸福的，因为阿拉斯加的在夏天的时候的阿拉斯加非常的舒适哈，这个天气不会太冷。不会太热了哈，而且呢，这个白天非常的长。我记得我那时候夏天到阿拉斯加去，好像晚上10点半，好，天还是亮着的。
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. 那早上一大早太阳就出来了。
Yeah, I might make that a thing. Live in Taiwan in the winter and then go to Sweden in the summer. That'd be an equivalent.
Oh yeah, 所以也许这个冬天住台湾，夏天住瑞士哈，那也是类似的那种感觉。
I just have to figure out how to get a job in Sweden now. It's always about economics, isn't it?
哦，这一句话各位要学起来哈。我们通常大概讲说，都是讲到最后都是钱的问题。我们大概只会讲 ，Well, it's all about money 啊。但是另外一个听起来比较有学问的方法呢，就是 It's all about economics 啊 ，isn't it?
All about the economics.
The economics 啊，要记得要加一个 the 好 ，It's all about the economics 啊，那就是跟经济问题有关，其实就是钱的问题哈。这句给它学起来。好，那我们回来看看刚刚那一句哈，这个地方要讲说 the purpose of 就是目标目的哈 ，the birds 这些鸟的目的，他们做什么的目的呢 ？Flying to warmer climates， 他们要飞到比较温暖的气候的这个目的，好，而且飞到温暖气候是干嘛呢？是 for the winter， 就是去过冬。所以他们要飞到温暖的气候去过冬的原因 is simple to understand， 就很容易了解，很容易懂。
It is easier for the animals to find insects. Of course, it's easy to understand. It's easy to find insects and food and build nests in warmer regions than in snowy, frozen areas of the globe.
Yeah, 所以 it's easier for somebody to do something. 所以 it's easier for the animals. 对这些动物来讲比较容易，可以干嘛呢？可以 find insects， 可以找到昆虫 and other food， 还有其他的食物。然后呢 and build nests。好，那 build 前面省略了 to， 就是 it's easier to 的意思，所以也比较容易 build nests， 盖一些筑巢。好 ，in warmer regions， 好，在一些比较温暖的地区。好 ，region 这个字呢，就是 an area， 通常是 an area having definable characteristics， 它通常是有一些明确的一些特性的地区，例如说这个地方现在气候都是冬天，或这个地方都是怎么样。但是呢，这个 region 它不一定 会有一个 fixed boundaries， 它不一定会有这个很固定的边界哈，所以 region 就是跟中文讲地区很像，你不见得有一个很明显的边界，但这个地方这些所谓地区之内呢，它一定会有某一个共同的特性啊，所以在一个比较温暖的区域里面呢，它也比较容易筑巢，比较容易找到食物啊。跟什么相比比较容易呢？跟这个 snowy 哈 ，snowy 它可以说是 covered with snow 啊，或者是 characterized by snowfall， 所以它就表示有雪的、多雪的，或者是被雪覆盖的。那 frozen 冰冻的 areas 一些地区 of the globe， 也就是说温暖的地方比较容易筑巢，比较容易找到食物，比起那些被雪覆盖或者很冷、很冰冻的一些地球上的区域来讲啊，那比较温暖的地方比较好。
Now, exactly why some birds fly in a V pattern, the precise reason for the V as opposed to other patterns, is a bit more complex. It's a bit more complicated, but scientists have discovered the reasons behind this phenomenon. So scientists have figured out why they do it. And the discoveries are rather fascinating. It's rather interesting.
好，那下一个句子呢，它的这个主词是 exactly why some birds fly in a V pattern 这个是主词，所以 exactly 究竟 why 为什么有一些鸟它会 fly in a V pattern， 会用 V 的队形人字编队来飞行，这一件事情呢 is a bit more complex， 稍微复杂一点complex 它是强调那个复杂那这个 but scientists have discovered， 但是科学家们已经发现了 the reasons behind this phenomenon， 这个现象背后的理由叫做 the reasons behind this phenomenon。 然后呢，下一句他说 the discoveries are rather fascinating， 这个 discovery 这地方变成它是用可数名词的形式，所以 discovery 在这里指的是 a person or a thing discovered， 所以是一件一件被发现的事情，所以他们所发现的这些事情是 rather fascinating， 还蛮有趣的。
By placing monitoring equipment on birds, so they put these machines on birds that can figure out their heart rate and figure out how fast they're flying, their wing beats. By putting this on birds that fly in a V, researchers have confirmed the theory that they do so to make it easier for those flying behind the birds in front. So we've theorized for years that the reason birds fly in a V is that it's harder to be the one in front and everyone else behind has an easier time because of aerodynamics. And we've thought about this for a while, but we've never had real proof until now.
好，所以 by placing 就是放置或者装置， monitoring equipment 就是这个监测的一些仪器设备那 on birds 把它放在这个鸟的身上所以放这些 monitoring equipment 放在这个鸟的身上，那这些鸟是怎么样 that fly in a V， 就是用人字编队飞行的鸟所以他们在他们身上放了这个监测的仪器。那 researchers 这些研究人员 have confirmed， 他们已经确认come 就是 together， firm 就是 strengthen 就是坚强，所以 confirm 就是我跟你我们一起确认了一下你是觉得这样，我也觉得这样子，或者我们都觉得没错，这个 theory 就是这样子。好，那他们 confirmed 什么东西呢？他们 confirmed 这个理论说 they do so， 他们会用人字编队飞行do so 就是指用人字编队飞行 to make it easier for someone to do something 所以这地方它是 make it easier for， 对谁来讲会比较轻松呢？ those flying behind the birds in front， 那些飞在前面的鸟的后面的那些鸟， make it easier 其实就是make things easier 的意思，就让他们会比较轻松一点。好，那 those flying behind the birds in front 修饰那个 the birds， 所以那飞在前面的鸟的后面，飞在前面鸟的后面的这些鸟会比较轻松一点。
Flying slightly to the right or left in back of a bird flapping its wings helps geese, storks, pelicans, flamingos, and some other birds take advantage of wind movements. So when a bird flies, they're pushing air with their wings, and this creates little tiny eddies of air behind it. And the way that you fly behind this bird, you can actually save energy by flying in their wake.
In their wake 就是跟着他们飞在他们的 wake 就他们的轨迹留在他们后面，跟在他们后面飞，叫 flying in their wake。 好，所以我们可以看到这个地方讲说，这个 flying slightly 啊，就稍微 to the right or left， 稍微靠右边一点或靠左边一点 in back of a bird flapping 啊 flapping its wings， 在一只拍着翅膀的鸟的后面稍微靠左或靠右的来飞啊 flap 就是拍动翅膀，所以你前面有一只鸟它在拍翅膀，那你飞在这只鸟的后面啊，稍微靠左一点或者稍微靠右边一点，这样子可以帮忙啊。那下面列了几种鸟，这些鸟就是显然他们会用人字飞行的鸟啊，也都大概都是候鸟啊候鸟啊，包括什么呢 geese 就是雁啊 storks 就是鹳鸟啊 pelicans 就是鹈鹕啊 flamingos 就是红鹳啊，还有其他的一些鸟类，帮他们怎么样 take advantage of 就是利用啊，或者是因为什么而受益，他们就可以利用，他们可以因为怎么样这个 wind movements 啊，这个空气的运动也就是空气动力而受益。
That is, so here we're having a sentence that explains the previous sentence by restating it. That is, the wind created by the flapping wings of the birds in front helps lift up the birds behind. It helps keep the birds behind in the air with less energy.
Yeah, that is, 也就是说 the wind 这个风created by the flapping wings 这些拍动的翅膀所制造出来的风那这些拍动的翅膀是怎么样？是谁的翅膀呢？是the flapping wings of the birds in front， 前面的鸟它所拍动翅膀所创造出来的风主要动词在 helps， 它可以帮忙 lift up 就是抬升 the birds behind， 可以帮忙抬升后面的这些鸟。
And this allows the birds behind to flap less frequently, to flap their wings not as frequently, and to use less energy. And the interesting thing is if you watch a set of birds over a while, the front bird switches out positions.
Yeah, they take turns.
They take turns being the front, the harder working bird.
所以他说呢这个 this allows， 那因为有这个气流可以抬升后面的鸟，所以这个就使得就允许 them 就指这些鸟后面的鸟他们可以 flap not as frequently， 他们不必那么频繁的拍他们的翅膀，那他们就可以 use less energy， 他们就可以使用比较少的能量也就是他们会比较省力。所以刚刚 Angela 老师有提到说所以其实他们这些鸟我也看过这种影片说他们其实会轮流的你这个当这个 lead bird 一段时间之后呢，你累了就换一只上来
Yeah，
等于好像有一只要在前面开路，这只会比较辛苦，所以它开路一段时间要轮流才行。
Yeah. And it's not like the other ones are like being selfless. It's like basically the lead bird gets tired and pulls out of formation and the next guy's like, oh, well, my turn now.
所以他们不是说这个后面的鸟说来换我，不是这样，而是前面那只飞的受不了了，太累了，它自然就会往旁边或者怎么样，那有一个 message 出来那后面的鸟知道说下一只该上去换了。
Yeah. But one study showed that the heart rates of pelicans that flew in a V were slower than those that didn't fly in a group. So this is a strong way of indicating they used less energy, because if you're using more energy, your heart has to pump blood around faster to get the oxygen to the cells. So your heart pumping slower is a sign of you're using less energy.
Yeah, 所以有一个研究显示呢 the heart rates 就是心跳的速率of pelicans 就是鹈鹕他们 flew in a V 用人字队形飞行的这个鹈鹕呢，他们的心跳 were slower than were 为什么用 were 呢？因为它的主词是 the heart rates， 他们心跳会比较慢一点，跟谁比起来比较慢呢？跟那些 that didn't fly in a group 那些没有在整群飞的鹈鹕所以整群飞的鹈鹕用人字队形飞的鹈鹕比起那些个别单飞的鹈鹕来讲，整群飞的他们的这个心跳速率会比较低，换句话说他们运动的没有那么激烈他们不需要用到那么大的能量，所以 indicating that 所以这个事情就指明了告诉我们 indicating他们 expended less energy， expend 就是 spend 或者是 use up， 通常它是跟一个 resource 有关可能是 money 可能是 energy， 那在这也是 energy， 他们花的能量比较少他们 expended less energy， 你当然也可以用 used但是 expended energy 是一个不错的 collocation。
It's also the more scientific sounding collocation.
这个也让你感觉起来是比较科学化的一个比较带有科学性的一个 collocation。Yeah.
Besides, it sounds good. Expend energy. It's the same beginning sound.
Yeah. 那这个 expend energy 前面都是 E 开头的，所以这个听起来也比较好听，所以这个片语大家好好学起来。
Now, another reason some birds fly in a V shape, scientists believe, is that it allows them to visually communicate with each other better. If someone is flying directly behind you, you can't see them. But if they're off to the side a little bit, you can kind of tilt your head and see them. And so everyone is able to communicate with each other better.
好，那另外一个原因some bird species 有一些鸟的种类，它们会 fly in a V shape， 它们会用人字队形来飞。另外一个原因呢，然后中间插入一个 scientists believe， 科学家们这么相信的 is that， 所以 another reason is that， 另外一个理由是什么呢？是 it， 就是 flying in a V shape， 用人字编队飞行 ，it 就指这件事情 ，allows 它让 them 就是这些鸟。可以怎么样 visually 就是视觉上面他们可以 communicate with each other better， 他们可以在视觉上面有比较好的沟通。好，换句话说他们可以看得比较清楚，不必一边飞一边转头，到时候万一扭到脖子就比较麻烦。好，那现在呢飞成人字形，他们就比较容易看到其他鸟在干嘛。
Because they have better views of the flock, the animals can follow the leader of the group more easily.And avoid colliding with each other, avoid flying into each other. The interesting thing is we used to think that animals were just so clever and smart that they would never fly into each other. And that's not true. With modern photography and filming, we've discovered that creatures like bats run into each other all the time. So in fact, it is important for them to see each other so as not to have a mid-air collision, which is good for nobody.Yeah,
所以我们都会觉得说这个鸟它们很会飞所以大概不至于会撞到彼此相撞吧。那其实现在因为这个摄影技术的发达，所以我们发现其实鸟类或者像刚刚Angela讲到这个蝙蝠它们其实在飞的时候常常彼此会撞到所以在这里我们可以看到说，那鸟用人字形飞就比较不会撞到所以他说 because they have better views of the flock 就是鸟群，所以因为他们可以看到整群的鸟看得比较清楚那而且人字飞的话，你也比较知道前面是干嘛前面发生什么事情。那所以这些 the animals 在这里就是指这些鸟，他们可以 follow the leader of the group， 他们可以跟随这个队伍的领导者 more easily， 他们可以比较轻松就可以跟到而且呢，他们可以 avoid 避免 colliding with each other collide with 就是相撞collide C-O-L 就 together 嘛，那这个后面的 L-I-D-E 呢，这个字根就是 to strike 的意思，所以 strike together 就打在一起，也就是相撞的意思其实不要说鸟我这个人类也是一样。我记得我这个服兵役的时候，有一次我们早上出去跑步那个其实前面有一个小木有一个木桩在那边，但是因为我们是直的队伍，所以我们看到就前面那个人，那等到前面那个人他闪开来的时候，后面有人就没有看清楚就撞上去了所以你说人跑步的时候我们会看路，但是有时候因为你一字形看不清楚前面你就会撞到。那我就在想，如果我们用人字形跑步的话，那就不会撞到了
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But the paths have to be wider then.
Oh yeah, of course. 但这个路就变得要很宽了，而且人字形跑步这个也有它的缺点了我们在这里就不讨论了。
Okay. Anyway, so these are all interesting points to think about the next time you see birds flying in formation or the next time you're out jogging.
Yeah. 所以这些都是 interesting points to think about. 这都是一些有趣的一些点你可以去想一想这些点。这鸟为什么要这样飞那 the next time 下一次 you see birds 你看到鸟怎么样 flying in formation 他们以 information 就是编队的意思记住那个介系词的用法 in to fly in formation 就是这个以编队来飞行这样他们可以省力，可以有比较好的 communication。So
that's all we have for you today about birds, but you can look up more on the internet if you're interested. We'll see you next time. Please join us again for more Ivy English.